That's so mean. Dude.
That's so mean. Season 2, Adley. All we're going to do is talk about some hip-hop beef, homeboy. Now it's time to get schooled. You ready?
Nice.
Don't put your dunce
ready.
cap on, bro, because I'm about to school you in some beef. We're starting with 50 Cent and Fat Joe. But before we get into this story, let's introduce the characters. First character is Joseph Antonio Cartagena, otherwise known as
Fat Joe.
Otherwise known as
The Don Cartagena.
Otherwise known as
I don't know.
Joey
Terror
Cracked
Squad.
the Don. Joey Cracked the Don. Come on,
Yes,
what's wrong with you?
Oh, yeah.
Born 1970 in the South Bronx, raised in the projects, hangs out with the drug crew when he was in high school, and they were also into hip-hop. But the one thing that changed is in 1995, him and his friends were in front of a cipher in front of a in a cipher in front of a bodega, and who came rolling up?
Big Pun.
Absolutely. Big
Nice.
Pun comes rolling up. Fat Joe at that time was an aspiring producer, takes Pun immediately down to the studio and starts recording. Fat Joe's net worth is $4 million.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, born 1975, Jamaica, Queens, man. Was raised by a single mother who was a drug dealer. And then she died when he was 8 years old. Isn't that horrible?
I didn't know
in a
that.
Fire. Yeah, died
That
in a fire
sucks.
when he was 8 years old. Absolutely.
Ooh.
Raised by his grandparents. From the time he was 12 to 19, sold crack cocaine. He was into that chop, into that, the pipe stuff, whatever you want to call it. He was arrested and then sent to boot camp. So he does his boot camp, does 6 months, whatever he did. I can't remember what he did because it didn't really say. But in 1997, well, it might have said somewhere. I didn't read that part. But in 1997, he meets Jam Master Jay. And they produce a song called the Ghetto Quan, where he talks about Kenneth McGriff and all his nefarious behavior in the streets. The problem is, he calls him Kenneth McGriff and actually says all the beef that he did in the streets. And you know what Kenneth McGriff did?
What do you do? Get it, dude. Do you squash it and say, nope, this ain't happening?
I've been hit with a few shells, but still walk with a limp.
Been hit with a few, but I don't walk with a limp.
He shot 50 Cent 9 times. That's how 50 got shot.
Really?
Yep.
So 50 was writing about homeboy. 50 was writing about
Kenneth McGriff.
Kenneth McGriff.
Yep.
Kenneth McGriff was a street dude.
He was the street dude.
He was the street dude. And then he wrote this song about him, like almost kind of like
the Ghetto Quan.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be almost like a tribute. You know what I mean? It'd be like, oh man, we're writing a song about you. You know, it's just talking about your life and everything and stuff. And then he oh wow, then he shoots you 9 times.
He shot him 9 times.
Ooh.
And was rumored to be involved in the death of Jam Master Jay.
Huh. Whoa.
50 Cent's net worth is $4 million. But
That's it.
That's a lie, because let's remember that he just went bankruptcy for $50 million plus $10 million. 50 Cent knows how to hide his money in corporations and say he has $4 million.
Okay. DJ Prospect checking in. What up, man?
So in 2004, Fat Joe teams up with a friend Jadakiss and makes a song called "I'm from New York." Now we talked about that in the Jadakiss or the Ja Rule episode. Adley, do you remember the diss that went on to 50 Cent from Fat Joe in that song?
250 Cent for there was a in that song I'm from New York, there was a diss from Fat Joe to 50 Cent.
It was subliminal.
Really? I remember that song too. Dude, you gotta school me on this. Oh my gosh, I want to know.
Apprentice, you're retired. You're no longer desired. So take off those silly chains. Put back on your wire. I'm on fire. Highly dipped in octane. That was aimed at 50 Cent.
What? Wait. Wear your wire. Was 50
Apprentice.
undercover? Was it 50 an informant?
Well, remember at the time he'd put that PFA against Ja Rule. Remember that part?
Yeah. Okay, that's right. And the PFA is in the restraining order type thing, where it's like, yeah, you can't go near me.
That's it.
Was that the start of the beef with Fat Joe and 50?
That was the start of the beef.
And that was because Fat Joe hooked up with Ja.
That was because Fat Joe and Ja were boys.
Okay.
Because remember in the Ja Rule episode, we talked about all the people he'd worked with, and Ja Rule had worked with like serious MCs, and he had come up during that real hip hop era. Yeah, and they were street guys. You know what I mean? Him and Jada were street guys.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. 50 had a problem with that. So what he responded was, he said, "Look, this isn't Busy B and Cool Mo D. This isn't Cool Mo D and LL Cool J. Like, this isn't rap stuff. We're street guys. You know we're street guys. We're like, this can end in a street way. So you shouldn't do this."
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to at that point in hip hop and rap, you got to be very careful when you battle. And I feel like you had to be able to back it up. And it wasn't like mama jokes at that time. It had escalated to some serious stuff.
So in 2005, 50 Cent fires back with the Sog Piggy Bank. Two of my favorite lines in this song. Here's the first line. "You got 100 guns, 100 clips. Why I ain't heard a shot?" That's my first favorite line. Second favorite line. Dude, that's the thing. 50 Cent is so funny. And you guys are about to see that in a second here. Second favorite line is he goes, "You thought Lean Back was up in the club. My ish sold 11 mil. Your ish was a dud."
What? Dude. And to the DJs watching right now, like Doc Prospect, dude, when 50 Cent in the club, you could play, we were talking about this, you could play that song in the club back to back. I mean, you have the needle on the vinyl, be like, boom, it's done. Play it again, man. Run that back. But Lean Back was a smash too in the club.
Yeah, it was.
So interesting saying that was a dud, though.
I know, but he's just being petty, bro. You know how he is.
He's just talking his ish. I get that, but man,
Fat Joe responds with "Victim" and "My Fofo." So those are two songs, and they're just forgettable songs. Yeah. But at that point, 50 Cent goes on K-Slay on the radio and just starts insulting Fat Joe, and then Fat Joe calls back and responds. So I cut this up because it was a half an hour of them going back and forth. One would call, hang up. The next one would call and hang up. So I cut it down to just about a minute. So Adlai, you want to play drop one for everybody?
Yeah. Fat Joe, he calls Philly, talking about when you see me, you gonna punch me in my face. And that's not just between me and you in New York City, K, right?
Yeah.
I will whoop his fat ass.
We got Fat Joe on the line. We got Joey Crack.
I heard this coward call you up. His number one record is called In the Club. We ain't never see this dude in a club in our life. I mean, all that, he'll kill Ja, catch you when I catch you, I won't back down. It's been like 4 years, he ain't even slap box with Ja yet. Because the fans know they see me in Harlem, they see me in Brooklyn, they see me in the Bronx, they see me with no bodyguard. I never had a bodyguard in my life. So he feel like, oh, I disrespect him, I'm going to get points off it. He don't understand. He's a coward, B. He's a coward. This dude scared of his own shadow, man. Them steroids is getting to him, man.
Steroids are getting to him. Dude, but see how vicious? Could you imagine being on the air and it's like, oh, 50 Cent's calling in. All right, well, I better take that. And then all of a sudden you hang up and Fat Joe calls like, what that guy just say? I'd be like, bro, please don't shoot me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be scared. He kind of laughed at that, like, I never see 50 clips. And I'm like, ooh, I'd turn my mic off.
Dude, K-Slay, like, well, if you heard all the whole interview, and I just cut it up just for the beef part, but if you heard the whole interview, and I would listen to that interview, it's on YouTube. Just type in K-Slay, 50 Cent, Fat Joe. But don't do it after this though. But the 50 was like, K-Slay says, well, we're gonna keep this on vinyl, right, 50? And he goes, it's gonna stay wherever it's gonna stay. So if it's gonna stay on vinyl, it stays on vinyl. If it goes to the street, it goes to the street. So like it was heating up, and these are street dudes, bro. These aren't studio gangsters.
Wow.
But here's the thing: 50 Cent is petty. And so he started a YouTube channel just to bag on Fat Joe and called it This Is 50.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
Exactly. So Drop 2, go ahead and play Drop 2. This is part of his new YouTube channel, This Is 50, that he put out right after Fat Joe and him had this battle with K-Slay, just to make fun of Fat Joe. Go ahead.
There's people playing the music, trying to work out.
I'm on the ground, moving them cupcakes. I'm on the ground, moving them cupcakes.
I love hip-hop. I don't know what else to say. I mean, everywhere this is happening all over the place. It is because this music sucks so bad. It's gonna kill people. Don't listen to it. Please. Please.
That was his response to their radio beef, was to just start a YouTube channel. All right. After this, let's see, February 12th, 2008, GUnit returns with Revenge of the Body Snatchers with a Fat Joe disc called I'm Leaving. In 2008, Fat Joe decides to come back into the ring, put out another album, you know, another classic. He wants it to be like Dre's 2001. He's gonna call it Elephant in the Room. So it's gonna be in his mind like the Fat Joe staple, like the plaque that you're gonna put on your wall.
Yeah. Okay.
The album that like all of us will listen to and remember that era from. It's gonna be called Elephant in the Room. And just to be petty, 50 Cent and GUnit move up their mixtape to the same day that he's dropping his mixtape, and it was going to be called Return of the Body Snatchers Part 2, but they changed the name to Elephant in the Sand, and they put a picture of Fat Joe on the cover with his shirt off.
Elephant in the Sand?
Yeah.
Oh my
And they
god.
put a picture of Fat Joe with his shirt off, dude, in the first swimming trunks.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that cover. Oh my gosh, dude, that's too funny.
Yeah, dude. And then on top of it, they like paid every indie, every rep, everybody they could to get them to play the record. Where Fat Joe, at this point, he wasn't on a major anymore.
So you just had to kind of cross his fingers and hope people would experiment with it, huh?
All right, here we go. So here comes drop 3 right here. Because 50 Cent then goes on This Is 50 and explains how record sales work. Adley, you want to play that clip for him?
It's your kid 50 Cent. The results are in. Elephant in the Sand wins by a landslide. You understand what I'm saying to you? 400,000 copies downloaded from thisis50.com. A staggering 220,000 copies downloaded directly there. You ain't got to believe me. You can actually go check yourself and see it. It's a fact. You understand what I'm saying? And Elephant in the Room, Fat Joe's project, actually scanned 46,000 copies, which is actually terrible. Like, it's the worst.
Oh my goodness. Dude.
That's so mean.
Dude, I remember I was working at Play 103.9 here in Bakersfield, and Fat Joe came through the station. I remember that. It was probably around that time too, and he's a scary dude, man. He's a
street dude, bro.
Yeah, he's a scary dude. We had, and you remember you have your artists come through, you have your sheet, your list of drops, like, hey, what's, and you'd say, hey, what's up? It's Fat Joe. You got DJ Prospect in the mix. You got DJ Doc. You got Mike in the mix. And we did about halfway through, and he's all like, I'm done, bro. I ain't doing no more. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'm cool with that. We're sitting right next to each other. And, I was recording them and stuff. And I remember, wearing the sweats, and his New York cap and whatever. And it was like, do you, bro. Do as many as you can. So for him, for 50 to go after him, I mean, that's two real street dudes. But you can't say that Fat Joe didn't try. Just those comments from the K-Slay interview. It's like, hey, I'm not backing down. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? But the picture of him at the beach.
That was so funny, wasn't it?
Woo!
Dude,
That's
50 Cent is so petty, but he's hilarious. That's the part that
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
Is that he's hilarious and he's petty and he can fight. That's the worst character traits to have in a man that you are going up against. You know what I mean?
So you got to know, because come on, let's be honest. Fat Joe probably ain't in the best shape ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, he's
still scary.
He'll still mop him up. Here's the thing: he's not funny. Like Fat Joe can't be funny. You know what I mean? 50 Cent is hilarious. So, all right. Anyways, 2012, Fat Joe releases Into the Darkness and fires one more shot at 50. Okay. 50 allegedly responds by making sure the Fat Joe's Air Jordan deal doesn't go through.
Whoa. How does he do that?
I mean, it's up in the air. It's up in the air. I just heard Fat Joe say, yeah, he said, did 50, somebody was asking, because I was like, dude, I know this guy's petty. I know he loves costing people money. But Fat Joe probably is pretty smart about not letting people find out that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he, in an interview, they asked him, and they're like, did 50 ever cost you any extra money? And he was like, bro, I was supposed to have this deal with Jordan. And that beef messed it all up. He's like, wow. Yeah, Michael called me himself and was like, look, man, I just can't have this going on. So it kind of implied that 50 had something to do with it, but I think
we'll never know. We'll never know.
I think he did, dude.
Dude, if you have, but we talked about the Ja Rule thing. It's like, hey, if you want GUnit, 50 Cent, Eminem to come to your town and do a show, you can't have Murder Inc., Ja Rule, any of them come through for 5 years. Dude, that is career destroying.
Dude, that's how 50 is, bro.
Dude, a sneaker deal? You know how many people like Malix would be rocking those sneakers?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Dude. Those sneakers on the resale right now. Could you imagine how the sneakerheads? Dude, because think about it. Hip-hop, Fat Joe, Big Pun, because it was going to be the Big Pun logo with him doing the Air Jordan jump. I would have bought those sneakers. I don't like Nikes.
You're not a big Nike guy.
I remember one time I was wearing some Nikes. You're like, yo, you're wearing Nikes? I'm like, yeah, man. Adidas dropped me from their sponsorship. And you're like, oh, okay. Anyways, all right, come on. Let me back this.
But okay.
Yeah, so later in 2012, Chris Lightley dies. And Chris Lightley was the guy that discovered Ja Rule, or 50 Cent and Fat Joe. So, so at the BET Awards, they were like, hey, can you guys both perform for Chris Lightley? And they showed up, and 50 Cent said, peace, and Fat Joe said, all right, peace. But then later on that year, Fat Joe went to La Pinta, homeboy. He went to prison.
What?
Fat Joe went to prison, bro. He went to college, homie. In 2013, Fat Joe went to prison.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh, geez.
Can you guess what for?
Something taxes. Tax evasion.
Absolutely.
Same as Ja Rule, right?
Absolutely, dude.
Oh, my gosh.
So
Does 50 Cent have something to do with this?
Check this out, dude. No. I forgot to tell you about Papoose, but maybe I'll edit it in later. For when we repost this. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
So before that happened, Fat Joe was breaking an artist called Papoose. And Papoose went on the radio to promote a tour that him, Cameron, and Fat Joe were going to be on. And 50 Cent came to the radio station when Papoose was there. So think about it, bro. You're an on-air DJ, right? And you have this guy, Papoose. He doesn't even have a hit yet. Neither of us remember him. And 50 Cent's like, hey, man, I'm in the room. Wouldn't you be like, hey, Papoose, you want to sit in on my interview with 50 Cent now? And that's what happened, dude. And 50 Cent went on, and he just started making fun of Fat Joe's wife, making Fat Joe's family. Yeah, dude, and Papoose was laughing. So Fat Joe went and effed him up, dude, in the hotel. Dude.
Come on, man. Papoose ruined his career too, but yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? 50's right next to you.
I know.
I don't know, dude. You still got your hood. I mean, if I was on some interview and someone started clowning you, I'd be like, nah. No. You know what I mean?
I'd probably walk out of the room. If I knew that person hated you and you guys were beefing, dude, we'd be in the same squad. I'm like,
yeah,
you never see that happen. That guy was a punk anyways, Papoose. Anyways.
Yeah, okay.
So here's what happens. Fat Joe's wiring his CPA, his accountant, $25,000 to $50,000 a month to pay for his house, his cars, his taxes, all that stuff.
Oh boy.
And he goes in to buy a car, and he was going to buy a car, and the guy was like, sir, I'm sorry, man. He ran his credit. He goes, I'm sorry, but you haven't paid your taxes in 2 years. And Fat Joe's like, what? And he called his accountant, and his accountant was like, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. He's like, I don't want to kill you, but where'd my money go? And the guy's like, I'm sorry. And so Fat Joe went to prison for 4 months.
Because of his accountant?
Yeah, man.
What did his accountant say? He's like, I just didn't pay it?
He kept
gambling? What was he do?
I don't know.
Ooh, you beat a papoose for going on the air with 50 Cent and laughing. Accountant stealing money?
I don't know, man.
I would have went to jail for more than 4 months, and it would have been, yeah.
It wouldn't have been for the tax stuff.
I'd be pissed, dude.
Yeah, so he goes in, and when he's in there, some guy comes up to him and is like, hey, man, there's an old folks basketball league. Come on, you want to join? And he was like, what? Old folks? He's like, yeah, 40 and up. And then Fat Joe realized, he's like, oh, yeah, I am 40. He's like, you know what? I'm too old for this beef anymore.
Yeah.
And he squashed the beef with 50 Cent.
Boom. Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
And now
OGs
they're
coming
friends,
together.
man. Yeah, now they're friends.
Good.
Isn't that a happy ending?
That is a happy ending. And hey, man, nothing like some good drama, though.